Thanks for watching. Here with my friend Manny Pantiga. Manny owns a brokerage in the Bronx. I am also localized in the Bronx, but we are actually here in Southeast New Jersey.
Yes, sir.
Right? We're going to talk about a little today. I'm sorry to cut you off. A little today about what it takes to succeed. Manny owns a brokerage firm in the Bronx with about how many realtors?
Just north of 40 agents.
North of 40 agents.
Yes. And growing.
One guy and growing. What can you tell us about growing? I have a small brokerage with 5 agents. So just who's the bigger guy here? How can we talk about success? What did it take you to get from yourself, right? You started by yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then now you have 40.
Yeah.
What does it take?
It's funny. And it's funny how everybody always says it's funny, which is never really funny.
How it starts.
It's actually,
right.
Just walking through all of the challenges that brings you to the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. I remember starting out, I had no buyers, no sellers, no agents. I had no one.
You by yourself?
Yeah,
one man band?
Alone. And I remember that I was never good door knocking. I would make the calls that I would make, and then I had a bag. The office was so clean because nobody would walk through it. It was just me. So I would sleep between the desks. I would take a nap because I didn't want to go home. I knew that if I went home, the business would falter.
Okay.
So it's what it takes. There is no hard and fast rule, but number one, it takes overcoming oneself. It takes overcoming my fear. It takes overcoming my own limitations, my limiting beliefs. The way that I set boundaries and I set limits, how many times I haven't thought about expanding, how many times I haven't thought about, and then even now after 10 years doing this, I still hold myself back and say, well, it's going to be too hard, or it's too risky, or it's too, we put the brakes on ourselves so much. So it takes self-awareness. We have to understand where we want to go. We have to understand what it takes to get there.
Clear vision.
But also how we interrupt our own journey.
Right. How we are self-sabotaging.
Yeah, with poor mindset. So obviously, everybody knows it. You know where you want to get to, whatever that picture of success, be it changing your body, changing spiritually, growing emotionally,
changing your mind.
Yeah, whatever the path is.
Right.
So you have to have, as you mentioned, a clear vision. I was reading. I'm a man of faith. I was reading a book that talked about handling one's emotions and maturing spiritually. And it takes, and the author said, I quoted St. Augustine. It says, I believe it was St. Augustine. It says, "You got to know thyself before you can know God." Right. If you don't know yourself, you'll never know the goal that you want to achieve. Right. If you don't know what are your strengths and your limitations, so I hope that gives any kind of sense of clarity.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many things that you touched on that I totally agree with. I'll just touch on 2 things.
Sure.
2 things are this. So you don't know what you don't know, right? So basically, as you start your journey, you believe being a realtor is, he wants to buy a house, I'm gonna sell him a house, and you're a realtor. Then as you progress, you start talking about, well, if I talk to a developer and I'm gonna sell this building and I have 400 families that need a house, now your mindset has changed because you learn as you go. So you meet the wrong people, they tell you it's not possible, then all of a sudden you're living their life. Mm-hmm. Live your life. Mm-hmm. Like, they set their limitations, they put their box together, that's where they fit. And I say the box is not NBC. And draw your box as big as you want, because no matter what, even if you don't hit the epicenter, just getting above there is huge.
You see, my issue wasn't the people around me drawing a small box for me.
Okay.
It was Manny drawing a small box for Manny.
Because you didn't know. You didn't know how big it could get. You didn't know how big everything was.
Yeah, you could intellectually kind of conceive it
and theorize it, right?
Yeah,
theorize it, right?
Emotionally was like, I'm not good enough.
No.
Nobody's gonna.
How can I grab that?
Yeah, no developer is ever gonna want to give me this stuff. No.
Well, Manny has a lot of developers in the Bronx, just FYI. I've done a deal with him, just so that's put out there.
Yeah, well, we have a great team, and we've been really truly blessed at working with a lot of people. But it wasn't until I came to grips with the fact that until I overcome that inner dialogue, I'm never going to be able to get to that clear vision that I already had, that I already desired. I speak to agents all the time, and we coach agents in our firm, and one of the things that I always remind them is whatever fire was burning within you to get you started is still there. In the midst of the storm, in the midst of the difficult, in the midst of all the deals falling through, in the midst of banking regulations changing. I mean,
everything changes, right? Everything changes.
In the midst of all of that, the fire is still there. So it's not whether we have the resources, how, like Tony Robbins says, how resourceful are we going to be with what we got. But even that won't be possible unless I address the inner stuff. Like, yes, it is possible. For some people, it's not an issue. For me, it was. For me, it was just overcoming that inner dialogue, that inner doubt. That you came from Cuba. Nobody's going to want to listen to you. No agent is ever going to work for you. Mm-hmm. And the more I change that, the more the results manifest in my life.
Yeah.
Because the hard work has always been there. I've never been afraid of hard work. I've never been afraid of dreaming big, but I was afraid of achieving.
Yeah. I hear this a lot. I hear, put the goal up there. Don't worry about the how. That's going to work itself out. Because once you have the goal and it's clear, you will work your way to that goal. So whatever it is, you don't even have to figure it out.
Right.
That's the end goal. Okay, so now once you put it there and your eyes on it, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's gonna attract people.
Yeah.
It just all works that way. And you'll meet negative people, and you'll just have to know we're not the same culture.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You could live in your spot. I'll live in my spot.